Not every boundary is about keeping people out. Sometimes it's about protecting what matters. In this episode, we discuss the importance of healthy boundaries with family, friends, work, social media, and each other. We share times when weak boundaries created stress in the relationship and how establishing clear expectations strengthened our marriage. If you've ever struggled with saying no or balancing outside demands with your relationship, this episode is for you. We talked about boundaries right off the bat when we started this relationship, and we still talk about boundaries.
Yeah, what's good for our relationship, what's good for us personally. So, like you said, we established them right when we got together.
Absolutely. I mean, we were in such a strong place from our past marriages and just our past history. We really understood ourselves and really understood what it was that we wanted. Obviously, not 100%. We still had to work on that, but we definitely knew what we wanted and what we didn't want
Yeah.
based on life experience and, understanding ourselves, taking time to really understand ourselves.
Going backwards into our first interactions and our first conversations, our boundaries for ourselves were more like, we won't do this again based on the previous relationship. We won't. Let's try to give some examples. What did we say when we established our boundaries with each other?
I think both of us had been hurt and both of us had really, to a degree, let ourselves go in forgetting who we were. And I think one of the biggest boundaries that we set was the fact that we get into a relationship, we're not going to lose ourselves. We spent so many years losing ourselves and then so many years finding ourselves. When we came together, we had found ourselves and we weren't really willing to compromise
Mhm.
that moving forward. I think that was a boundary that we both set that was very mutual, which still plays into the relationship now. And I love it because it helps us grow. It helps us push each other to be better and not lose ourselves. I don't want you to lose who you are.
Yeah.
I fell in love with who you are. Why would I want you to lose that?
I think when we discovered who we were, we obviously now we're intertwining the things that we love and our activities. So it was easy for us to have that mutual boundary now that we're going to have these activities. We do these things but now we're doing them together.
Yeah.
So paddleboarding, this podcast,
The hiking,
and the hiking.
just all the things, all of our endeavors that we are our long list of endeavors. Yeah. I mean, it's a good boundary. We also put boundaries on the relationship right
Mhm.
off the bat too, as far as protecting the relationship. We had both experienced where our previous people were talking to everybody and anybody
Mhm.
about the relationship.
Yeah.
And I remember having that conversation early on in our relationship that whatever happens between us stays between
Mhm.
us, even if it's bad, good, bad, everything.
Like, people ask us, "How's your?" Because people do ask us, our family, our friends, my coworkers, like, "How is your relationship? How are things?" They're good. Like,
They're good, they're great.
yeah.
And even if they're not, I'm always going to say they're good and great.
Because once, as we stated, once we let people in, we bring in that vulnerability, that ability for that person to come
Infiltrate.
inside
Hmm.
and feel like they know us and like, no, that's I think we know us. And for everybody else to be like, "Oh, now I know you because you were just talking about, your relationship." No, that's not okay.
No. And, that applies to friends,
Mhm.
family, coworkers, even children.
Mhm.
What happens between us stays truly between us.
Yeah.
And I think that brings up a good point too, is we both have friends and coworkers who have talked about their relationships.
Mhm.
And when you say negative things about your relationship, generally you're just throwing out all the negatives
Mhm.
over and over and over again. So whoever you're talking to has a bias
Mhm.
about that person.
Yeah.
So they're only going to hear negative. So if you're complaining about me, like he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, then your coworker is going to push that button more to you and be like, how's your crappy husband?
Mm.
And just continue
Then
on
that's the way the conversation's gonna keep going. Okay, when it's
always
to you.
because they always have a negative
Mhm.
connotation of me every time you speak. Or if they meet me, they're like, they already have an image
Mhm.
of who I am based on a negative, thought
Yeah.
process. And so,
I think with that as well, I think a lot of those people that have those conversations to others or even to us, My coworkers are honestly guilty of that and talking about their relationship and their husbands or their wives or their significant others. And it's like, if you have that conversation with somebody else, why aren't you having that conversation with your partner?
Hmm.
That's the real issue here. Like, you need to have those conversations with your partner and not everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point. Look at your relationships.
Hmm.
Good point to reflect on your relationship. That have you provided a safe space for your partner? And I'm not going to say that you should say, oh, well, your partner hasn't provided that for you, because a lot of times in a relationship, we play off of each other. So
Yeah.
if I'm not providing a safe space for you, you're doing the same for me.
Yeah. Which we provide a safe space for each other.
Extremely safe space for each other.
Everything that we talk about when we're out on our adventures are either what we're feeling, what we can do better for each other, if we made each other feel a certain way throughout the week. Those things are conversations to have with your partner and not with others.
No, no, absolutely not. And that's taken time to develop,
Yeah.
and it continues to take more time
Mhm.
to develop. Like the book that we're listening to right now, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's trust deposits.
Yeah.
We're making trust deposits into each other's trust bank. And the more that we deposit, the richer the relationship becomes.
And we are continuously depositing.
Hmm. All the
Continuous.
time.
There's not a adventure that we go on that we're not talking, that we're not conversating about our relationship, our family, our what we want in the future, money. All those things are a conversation that we have all the time.
All the time.
And it's a good conversation. Never gets heated, never gets, and say we talk to each other and we're like, oh, does it make you feel a certain way? Does this conversation, was it okay? Like, we have a good conversation.
But that's good because we're checking in with each other
Mhm.
to see how we feel about the conversation, because not every conversation is going to be,
No.
rainbows, sunshine, and unicorns.
Not unicorns with little sprinkles coming out of it?
Some conversations are going to be uncomfortable, but again, that goes back to our trust deposits where, yes, it's an uncomfortable conversation, but because we have established so much trust in each other, we can have those
Mhm.
conversations without hurting each other.
Yeah. I think I can backtrack to our last conversation. Like, I think when we were having a conversation in the car, I was like, I feel a certain way about what you're saying. So, and then we kind of reflected and we changed, our
Yeah.
tone, the way we were coming about it, like our words.
The wording. Yeah.
I think if you don't say anything, obviously, how's the person going to know if they're hurting your feelings or you're getting, I don't know. What did I say? What was that word that I said? That's something about I'm not feeling like our tone is coming across as informative. Like what you're trying to say to me, your tone's not good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of backtracked and you're like, okay, well, maybe my tone wasn't good.
Yeah. No, you were right. I mean, it was a good reflection, and I'm glad you called that out right off the bat because, yeah, I probably could have kept going and not trying to hurt you or offend you or say things in the wrong nature. But sometimes we just get going.
We get
Yes.
talking and don't realize that either that could be a trigger for somebody else or trigger words or trigger tones for somebody else. So our conversations are really good. We really have good conversations, but backtracking to boundaries, those conversations are between us. And that's
And all that, the tone and everything, it does make sense. And we just have to catch ourselves and really understand what we're saying. And, one of the things that we were talking about going to boundaries and is family.
Mhm,
Boundaries between family. We come from two different backgrounds of family, and you really got to be careful with what you say. I know
mhm,
a lot of people, and I've heard this a lot of times where people are like, "Oh, well, that's my family." And
mhm,
I think when your family starts to dictate how you act or what you do in your relationship,
mhm.
I really think that hurts the
Yeah.
relationship.
I mean, you gotta have a good understanding of your relationship, right? What do you guys want? What do you guys need?
Right.
And if you only have that, you have those wants and needs within your relationship, you can't have your family be telling you what are your wants and needs. Like, or
Or what's good for you or what you
Mhm.
should be doing
Yeah.
in your relationship.
I mean,
Or,
because our family definitely has an opinion. My family, your family,
yeah.
but that's just not at the end of the day, we are sleeping together. At the end of the day, we are together.
Hmm.
They're not in our relationship.
Again, they're not in this little circle. They're not
Mhm.
in between our little bubble.
Mhm.
And that's why we keep everything between us. And I know a lot of people, again, going to the whole family thing is people are very influenced by their
Mhm.
family, or people think it may be a lack of respect to their family if they're not listening. Or, there's other situations like your family is looking out for your best interest.
Are they?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the real big question is, are they looking out for your best interest, or do they just wanna hear the drama between your relationship?
Or is your family so biased that they are completely one sided in
Mhm.
a relationship?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's us.
It is us.
So, our family doesn't need to know the nitty-gritty. They don't. Everything's good, everything's fine.
Right. They see us happy,
Mhm.
laughing, having a great, strong relationship. That's all they need to know.
Yeah.
And that has to go with friends.
Mhm.
That would be your next level of influence, right?
Yeah. My friends, they definitely ask, like, "How are things going? How's the marriage? How's the second time around?" Everything's fine. Everything's great. My husband's a great person. He's my biggest supporter. He's my husband. I love him, and that's it. If I had anything else to say, I'm gonna say it to you. We solve our problems together. I don't need to solve my problems with my friends.
No. Because they're coming with their own
Mm,
problems and let them,
mm,
if they choose to disclose. But
yeah.
between us and for our healthy marriage, we keep everything between us. And I know when you're out with a group of friends, it can be kind of easy to be influenced by the peer pressure or just kind of get taken away by the conversation
Mhm.
sometimes, right? Like
Yeah.
you just kind of get sucked in and
Mhm.
you just start going with the flow, and
Yeah.
or maybe some drinks happen between friends and
Mhm.
everything gets going. But it really is taking that care and that respect for your relationship and the respect for your partner to the relationship and everything that you've built.
Mhm.
Why are you going to just all of a sudden open that door?
Yeah. I mean, we are a talkative influence, let's say that.
Yeah.
Our friends do like to talk to us and talk about their problems and their relationships and family and things that they have. However, also, I think that when we conversate with other people, we need to have those boundaries too. Like, still keeping those boundaries of, I'm not going to give you ill will advice or bias advice because that's just not going to help you.
No.
So,
Well, we've had that conversation before where as we have started getting more questions and
mhm,
more outreach, we did take a look at how do we need to do this to protect ourselves, but also protect the people that we're speaking to?
mhm,
Because, yeah, as we're telling you to keep everything between your relationship,
mhm,
but then we're talking to people not keeping things between the relationship. I know we definitely established a line of asking more questions
mhm.
to help the person understand their
Yeah.
situation better
Mhm.
versus
Being an influence, I think, or
right.
putting your own thought processes on their
Right,
conversation.
our background,
Yeah,
our everything.
because that's not gonna help them. Like, I mean, I have a lot of friends that come up to me and be, "Hey, like, I know you're doing this podcast. Can you give me advice?" Like, "Okay, that's great. I will give you the advice. I'm not gonna give you advice, but I'm gonna make you question and answer your own questions." Or
Yeah,
like
actually think about what you're asking
Mhm,
me. Yeah, because we have our backgrounds and we have
mhm,
our experience and
mhm,
expertise, but our relationship is not your
mhm.
relationship. So, yeah, that was definitely a strong boundary that we had to talk about too. That
Yeah.
we were like, "Oh, wait a second, hold on."
Yeah, people are starting to ask us for advice
Yeah.
and conversate their lives with us. And we're like, whoa, okay, how do
Yeah.
I not disclose my either? Because I mean, everybody has negative thoughts, right? We all have negative thoughts. How am I going to not?
Stay neutral.
Mhm.
But like you said, it goes back to asking those questions and getting the person to think about what it is that they're actually saying.
What's the problem? How can they solve it with their life
Yeah,
experiences?
just
Hmm.
guiding them to find their own answer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also not disclosing our life.
No.
Like, I think some people like to be like, "Oh, well, this worked for me." Like, no, that's not gonna work for everybody. You can't say, "Well, this worked for me. How about you try it and it worked for you?"
Yeah.
No, just let's focus on what you're talking to me about and let's help you solve the problem with your solutions.
Yeah. And we're not even getting super deep on their situation
Mhm.
either. It's just kind of very surface level enough to get those questions to get them to
Yeah.
really understand what it is going on and how they can solve it. So, yeah, it's boundaries across the board. Another boundary is the boundaries between us, and that's, our personal goals, our time apart and together.
Wow. Yes, because we are apart.
We are apart, but even boundaries, fortunately, we're lucky enough to love doing the same things,
Mhm.
right? But say you've got a hobby, a
Mhm.
really passionate hobby that you're all about, and
Mm.
I
You're not about
is
it.
not as passionate as you. That's again, that's a boundary, but it's also a respectful boundary within the relationship. I want to support you in that hobby.
Mhm.
And even though it may not be for me, I'm still going to respect you and give you that space to do what you need to
Yeah.
do. That again is a one of your would be one of your boundaries. Like I love this. I'm going to go out and do it.
Mhm.
So, like I said, we're very fortunate in the fact that we love
The
doing all things
things we
together.
do.
And again, going back to what we've created is we've created an amazing relationship and an amazing friendship. We're best friends. We love spending every actual minute together
Yeah.
that we can.
When we're not together,
We're
feel
longing to be together.
we are. I feel, as I've said to you before, I feel disconnected from you. I feel like we're not connecting in the ways that we do when we're together. I actually don't like when we're apart.
I hate it too. Sucks.
It does suck. But unfortunately, that's where we're at this moment in our lives together. And we know it won't always be that way.
No, things are temporary,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, it is again. The episode is having boundaries. You've had struggles saying no. I know as a kid, I think I was partly a people pleaser.
Oh, even in previous.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was bending over backwards to make sure that the other person was happy.
Yeah.
Friends were always happy.
Mhm.
"What do you need? What I got you." So, I mean, that's actually a really good point, is you look at your history, were you always a people pleaser? And yeah, I mean, realistically, it stems from a childhood trauma
Mhm.
of wanting to feel wanted, wanting that seeking that approval that you never got from your parents. As sad as that is, we were just looking for validation, so you become a people pleaser. Or you had a family where you just couldn't, quote unquote, do anything right. You're always seeking that validation. And I think that limits your boundaries growing up, which is why you're constantly saying things like, I'm sorry, or
I'm just saying yes
you're a
to
yes,
everything.
yes, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Yes to everything. I can say I'm guilty of that. And you called me out. You have. And it was, what do you want?
Oh,
What are
yeah.
your
You were like, what?
I was like, me? Do I want something? Like, is that okay? Like, and actually, yes, that is okay. But I was more focused on what everybody else wanted. I pushed myself to the side.
Mhm.
My wants, my needs were all just on the back burner. Everybody else got the yes and what they wanted to do. And
That's not healthy for you.
no, it really wasn't. And like you said, I became the yes person.
Hmm.
And but not no more. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's saying no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
no.
Taken back. Like, wait, huh?
Huh, what'd you say? I said no.
And then all of a sudden you're the mean person or whatever opinion people have, but who cares? Your peace at the end of the day
Mhm.
matters more than somebody else's temporary relief because you
Mhm.
said yes to them.
Yeah.
Like if you're stretched too thin, don't say yes. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we talked about. This happened months ago. We were on our drive out to Laguna and we were going over our questions. So we have a little game that we play in the car and it's car questions where we really like get deep on various
Mhm.
questions. So one of the times we had asked, what is something about me that is so unique? And I remember you answering, you saying, you're not afraid to say no. And if you don't want to do something, you don't.
Yeah. You don't.
No, and that's a hard boundary that I had to learn through mistakes.
Mhm.
That's how I had to learn through time. But it was also on a path that I really learned more self respect. What is it that I want in a selfish, non selfish way that protects my peace at the end of the
Yeah.
day? Why am I going to go do something if I don't want to do it?
Yeah. Mhm.
Sometimes you have that gut feeling that you're just like, really don't want to
When you're
go.
dreading it.
Yeah,
I
but
gotcha.
then you still go.
Uh-huh.
No,
Yeah.
I listen to that gut. And
Mhm.
if something instantly makes me feel uneasy, I'm not doing it. Just
And
not. And
you've helped me create my own peace, which is great. I mean, I am not afraid to say no. However, I'm still finding that. I'm not gonna say that I'm fully like, no, that's it. I'm not doing it. I create pros and cons in my head. I don't know why I do that, but I'm like, if I do this, then it'll be this way. But if I don't do it, it's going to be this way. But in all actuality, I have that gut feeling. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it.
And,
So,
and that gut feeling hits you immediately.
Mhm.
Whereas that thought process of, well, what are the pros? What are the
Yeah.
cons? That takes you time to process.
Mhm.
That gut feeling is something that you feel instantly. So your brain is already giving you the answer.
Yeah.
You're trying
I'm
to oppose your brain
I
and say, no, there's a way around this.
I am, but I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm not fully, I'm not going to say I'm not fully at peace. I'm at peace at where I'm at today and the boundaries I put for myself. I'm at peace. I'm still just creating more boundaries for myself, creating more peace for myself. And I'm still learning,
Absolutely.
because a lifetime of trauma and being the yes person has created that thought process in my head, and it's hard to change it, but
Yeah.
I'm slowly changing it, and I'm doing it.
It's you're saying that,
Mhm,
it reminds me of the unalome
mhm,
symbol where it's rounded, it's curved at first, because what it represents is your growth as a
mhm,
child from birth into adulthood. So it
mhm,
gets bigger and bigger. And then the line becomes squiggly back and forth,
mhm,
but the squiggles get smaller and
mhm,
smaller as it goes on because your path becomes clearer. It's not so crazy. You're learning, you're
mhm,
understanding yourself, you're understanding life, you're getting more sense into what your daily purpose is. And so that line, as it thins out towards the end of your life, you start to reach that nirvana, which is really what everyone's trying to reach, is that inner peace, that complete inner peace. And I think as we get older, sorry, youngsters, but sometimes it takes a lot of years and a lot of mistakes. But we're on that path where things are becoming more straight line and not so ambiguous, if you will. But like you said, you're learning.
mhm,
I'm
still
learning.
growing.
Exactly. And we never stop learning. We never stop growing. But things get easier as we find that peace and we understand things that aren't going to make us happy. I mean, actually, great example is 2 days ago, I got a text message from somebody asking me if I wanted to go to a pool party concert. And my first immediate thought was, I'm married. A pool party concert is no place for a married man to go, even with his wife. Now, some relationships, that might work for you, which is fine. And I'm not knocking that by any means. It does go into trust. And I know we trust each other, but as we talked about, it's outside people in an environment like that. And the one thing that we can control
It's our environment.
is ourselves, our
Mhm,
environment, what we do. We can't control other people. So if we're in a place where we can't control other people, such as a pool party where there's a lot of alcohol, the music, the crowd's getting rowdy, I just don't think, at least for us, that that's a safe place for our relationship and our peace.
mhm. And we talked about this conversation, and we said we were very mutual on those guidelines, those boundaries for our relationship is not we're not gonna do those things because it's not an environment where it's gonna not that it's not gonna protect our relationship,
Yes.
but the environment, we choose our environment that we're gonna be in. That's not an environment I want to even test my relationships.
Right. Yeah. I think as you get older, and I think as you just learn in life and understand again your boundaries, but understand yourself, you really take a look at your overall environment. I mean, even your work environment.
Mhm,
Is your work environment healthy for your job? Is your family environment or dynamic
mhm,
healthy for your relationship?
mhm.
You look at your friend circle. In
Yeah.
fact, actually, just the other day, was talking to a guy, same thing. He used to go every weekend, him and his wife, and they were hanging out with these people in their garage
Mhm.
drinking. And he's like, dude, I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
This is not a healthy environment for
Mhm,
myself, for
mhm.
me and my wife, people getting drunk, friends getting crazy at 2 in the morning. He's all, what am I doing?
Yeah. That's
That's not a healthy environment. Sometimes it takes bad things to happen for
Mhm,
you to finally get to realize that. But, before those bad things happen, maybe just think about it. Is this healthy for my
mhm.
relationship?
Yeah, take a quick thinking process to yourself, like, oh, somebody invites you somewhere, "Hey, let me just think about it for a minute,"
Hmm.
and be like, "No, this isn't." If you have that no,
Yeah. Think about it for a second.
yeah, go with it.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's either gonna test your relationship, it's gonna be not good for yourself, your overall peace in yourself, you're not gonna feel good.
No.
Like Keep what makes you feel good. Don't sacrifice your peace and what you want for others or an environment that's just not going to keep that peace within yourself.
No, gosh, no.
All right. Well, I know we haven't podcast in a minute, so we'll try to be more consistent.
Yeah, definitely fell off track there, but
Yeah.
we hope this episode was healthy and helpful. And please reach out if you guys do have any questions. We'd love to answer them and help you guys out as much as we can. And stay tuned for the next episode next week.
All right.